The breaking news we're covering right now is certainly about those Iran negotiations, which are currently underway.
What are you expecting from these Iran talks in Geneva tomorrow?
So I'll be involved in those talks indirectly, and they'll be very important. We'll see what can happen. It's been typically, Iran's a very tough negotiator. They're good negotiators, or bad negotiators. I would say they're bad negotiators because we could have had a deal instead of sending the B-2s in to knock out their nuclear potential. We had to send the B-2s. I hope they're going to be more reasonable. They want to make a deal.
Have you been told that a deal is next to impossible?
No, I think they want to make a deal. I don't think they want the consequences of not making a deal. They want to make a deal.
President Trump has made some pretty bold statements. So has the Ayatollah. This is a statement that came from the Ayatollah, again, directed at the United States of America. It said, the U.S. president says their army is the world's strongest. The strongest military force in the world may at times be struck so hard that it cannot get up again. The Americans constantly say they've sent a warship toward Iran. Of course, a warship is a dangerous piece of military hardware. However, more dangerous than the warship is the weapon that can send that warship to the bottom of the sea. Coming directly from the leadership in Iran, at the same time President Trump said they want a deal. They don't actually want to go to war. We know what that will look like. And I want to know what you feel about that. What does a war with Iran mean to you? President Trump certainly has not ruled out this, as he has really taken a interest in the crackdown that they've had on the nationwide protests that, of course, have killed thousands of people. And again, President Trump, like I said, has not ruled out military force, and it somewhat has continued to threaten it, somewhat to the point where you do get concerned that people will start treating it like it's an empty words, that you're crying wolf, that you're actually not going to do it. But we know from this administration that certainly out of nowhere we'll wake up likely one day without much warning to potentially an attack in Iran. And what does that look like? Of course, we saw that already when they destroyed the nuke facilities.
They have to have their teeth pulled. Otherwise, there's not going to be any peace. I remember in '79 when they took over the embassy, and everything these people do, they have to be eliminated. The Houthis, Hamas, Hezbollah, they're causing all the problems. And just think what this world could be if the Middle East could get it together. And I don't think Trump is too wrong when he talks about a Mediterranean, an area that would be like the Riviera, because that is possible.
Oh, George, it's a beautiful area of the world if you take away what you're having to deal with from a political and really it's political. I mean, I wouldn't even say it's religious. A lot of this is people who are striving for power, dictatorships. When you're dealing with these kind of regimes, you see suffering. Iran, from what I've seen, like I said, pre-'79, these were beautiful places. Israel is beautiful. I'm sure there are areas that can be rebuilt as this amazing area. What does it look like long term? I think it's very difficult. The Middle East has never been easy since the dawn of time. But is it possible, George? I think we can at least strive for it. I think we can at least look to it. There is hope that this leadership will change over, that you would have a change of hands. Now, the longer it goes, and the more issues that come up and the more negotiations that happen, the less I think that's likely.
Well, no one wants conflict, but if it happens, I'm sure it will be well coordinated with allies in the region and otherwise well planned, because you may only get one shot, maybe two. So hopefully it don't come to that. If it's coordinated well with allies and everything, like I said, and has to be done, do it right.
Yeah, Michael, I think some people do have those, like I said, those flashbacks to War on Terror. But you're right. If we can partner with some of our allies, that would be great in these situations. I think there is some hesitancy. Understandably so. There are global impact in terms of going to war with Iran, what it would look like. And what does war look like, again, in 2026? I don't know what an on-the-ground war looks like. I think it could be very different with the world of drones and the world of all of these other kind of more strategic strikes. We kind of can look at what happened with Israel and Gaza and go, that was more of a traditional on-the-ground kind of war. Now, what does that look like for America and American troops, and what could that be? I think that opens up a lot of doors.
When President Obama did not support the uprising in Iran, a lot of conservatives really spoke out against them. But now we seem to have a very similar type of situation, and it seems to be totally different. I don't think the Iranian people in power right now are people that we can trust anyway. I just wonder where your thoughts are on
George,
that.
yeah, I think the Green Revolution, all that, it does give you flashbacks to that as well, where you thought there would be a moment and the United States just simply didn't maybe get involved as well as we could have. And we still see the Ayatollah in control. The uprising over the last few weeks felt like it had hit a point of no return. And I can't say necessarily I feel that same way. I am conflicted, as a lot of people are, on how far you get involved in this. Now, I'm probably more on the side of get involved. Let's just do it. But I understand the global impact of it. We had one caller called in and said, I don't care if my prices go up. I don't care if my oil hits $5 a gallon. I don't care if I go through some financial hardships, if it means a better free world and a better Middle East, which will be a better thing for the entire planet. And while I agree with the sentiment, I think you have to judge some of this based on the American people and how it affects us and how it will affect us in a bigger, broader scale.
Now is the time to end this. And I don't care if my gas is $5 a gallon. I don't care if my retirement portfolio goes down significantly. I think now is the time. I think that if we don't act and act completely and decisively, clean house there, that for the next generations, it will get worse and worse.
Yeah. Well, Lewis, that's a big, bold statement. I don't think a lot of people would feel necessarily, they may agree with you in principle, but there are not a lot of people who are willing to say, yeah, I know my gas is going to go up. I know that there's going to be issues. Obviously, whatever boots on the ground looks like in 2026, which I still think is very different. But you're talking about, risking lives for it to hopefully empower a next generation, a safer, stronger Iran and a safer, stronger America because of it. I am curious if that's where other people stand. While the Ayatollah makes very thinly veiled threats, I think you'd say President Trump also similarly is saying, we are not ruling out any sort of military action right now. And of course, Iran will say, in terms of their nuke facilities, they'll say, we don't do any of that. None of that actually exists. Though we know, I'm trying to find the number. I think I just had it just a moment ago. The number is staggering of how much. Iran has denied has been pursuing a nuke weapon, despite having at one point enriched at 60%, far above the threshold needed for a power plant. Now, that's from the news. That's not our sources. So that tells you what you're actually dealing with here, how you trust them. What does it mean? He said they're good negotiators, then kind of came back and said, well, they're bad negotiators. But I think I know what he means. They're strong negotiators, at least you could say, whether you think that they are being foolish or not.